It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation? Welcome back once again. It is another installment of Garrett and I's segment that I think the working title right now is We Were Right.
Yep. That's a good title, man.
Yes, but you have your captain from the Two Doom Men podcast, and you have your samurai from Sergeant and Samurai. How you doing this week, Garrett?
I am fantastic, man. I'm happy to be back on with you.
Yes.
We've been, going back and forth. We dropped our installment of Hamilton 68 last week of the Twitter files, and it's so fitting because they're having the Twitter hearings. They just had them yesterday, so I think today me and you are gonna, kind of play some little audio clips back and forth.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you got it. I did send you because we want to give it, not a skewed perspective of how things are going because we have a lot of the conservative Republican side asking questions, and you're going to hear some pretty fire takes on certain things, but I've also been listening to the Democrat side, and it's pretty interesting once again how skewed and how different it is when you ask a CEO from a Republican standpoint. They can't recall, they don't know, they don't this, and as soon as they add in Donnie T from the Democratic side and all the other things, oh yeah, he definitely did it first, blah blah blah. They only remember one side of the conversation, so just putting that in perspective for you. But I think it's going to be interesting for you folks.
The name of this episode might be I Don't Recall, because it's just literally every question that gets asked. Well, I don't recall. I kind of almost, I wish I could have worked for Twitter during this time, because if the bosses don't recall anything and they don't know who's working on what, that means at bare minimum, there was several dozen people like the MTA. So you're familiar with the MTA. You're in the tri-state area.
Yep.
For people outside of it, that is New York's metro transit system.
So your subways, your buses, all that stuff.
And it is such a large organization. They can't even really put a number on how many employees are working. And every so often a story will come out that some Joe Schmo has been working for the past 15 years, making $200,000 a year in overtime, and he hasn't been to the office since in the past 10 years. Yeah, exactly. So, like, he started, they were like, this is your office, you're going to go deep into the subway tunnels and you're going to change the light bulbs. And he was like, oh yeah, sure. He changed 2-3 light bulbs his whole career and puts in an extra 20 hours of overtime from home every week. So people at Twitter, if this is how it was ran, there was somebody over there making $100,000 a year, just flicking their thumb and picking their nose, sitting at a desk somewhere, just getting paid to do nothing.
Well, that's why you saw that giant, the Elon came in, and just disclaimer as well, I hate the way Marjorie Taylor Greene says Elon Musk's name. I hate it. I'm like, what is she even talking about?
Yeah.
But where was I going with this? With Eli? Oh yeah, when he came in and did the mass firing of everybody, and he was like, "Dude, it's trimming the fat." There were so many employees there, and the game rooms, and this and that. It was like a hangout. They're taking a loss every year, and they're just like, "How are you getting that money? How are you continuing to fund this?" We know how.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be a nice audit coming down. I would really like for. And maybe it will happen. I don't know what the future is. You might know the answer to this. Let's get Elon on the fucking stand in front of Congress and ask him all these questions. What did you find out? What was what was your findings? You know, how come A, B, and C were let go? How come you changed this? How come Yoel Roth said he couldn't do this, but you came in and fixed it in 3 weeks?
Mhm.
You know, I would really like to see some of those questions fly.
I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but at the same time, I don't think Elon wants to open himself up to investigations of anything, especially being that rich and doing
Yeah,
space
yeah.
shit and all that other
Yeah.
stuff. But
He's also
you know,
not involved with what they did beforehand.
he isn't, but he's been dropping, the internal knowledge. So I guess you made yourself a player by doing that, But I think Elon also with his Starlink and a couple other things and his Neuralink that he wants to do and all that. And like we talked a little bit on our Monday episode, but we weren't even able to get into it. The giant earthquake in Turkey. And they basically cut Twitter out of there and told Elon Musk to go F himself with the Starlink. But if you're into the HARP documents and what HARP does around the world, they're capable of making earthquakes and etc. So I think there's a lot of stuff hidden in Turkey.
Was
with
that
the
that
administration.
thing? Didn't like Turkey have some weird UFO clouds, and then like they were struck with explain that a little bit. I mean, we're a conspiracy corner,
Yeah. So I mean, without getting too crazy or into it, HARP, they're an organization, them and DARPA, they're an organization that's been around forever. And I forget the exact spelling or wordage for HARP. That's the acronym.
What it stands for.
Yes, but basically what they do is manipulate weather, for simple terms. Okay, they make rain, they do this, they do that, like climate change.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you look back in the day too, there was a lot of things they would do experiments, and then all of a sudden 100 beluga whales would beach themselves in the Northwest and stuff like that. But they were talking about having there's been talks about them having the capability to create earthquakes, create weather, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden there's all these problems with Turkey, and Turkey's basically like, get the fuck out of our country. We don't want anything to do with the U.S. We see what you're doing, your administration, everything else. And then all of a sudden,
7.8 earthquake.
We don't want Elon there. We don't want this. And, I think personally, and this is just speculation, of course, I think they have a lot of dirt on a certain administration. And I think they tried to hurt them. And
Seems like that
tried to quiet them up.
That entire area of the planet has some just shady shit and dirt on present and past administrations. I don't know, a little bit of a quinky dink.
Yeah, right. Well, you got Syria over there, you got Turkey, you got the Middle East, and there's a lot of money that flows through them, even though they're like war-torn, impoverished countries. There's a lot, like Ukraine. There's a lot of
money.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
You're a war-torn country because now dark money can flow through you.
Exactly. So it all comes back to dollars and cents, people. So anywhere that these evil, corrupt people can slide their little slithery hands, their little reptilian hands in there. So, but
it was funny. I saw a picture today. I gotta try and share it. It was a picture of, it's like an AI rendering of like an alien, and it had like this little shitty nose, and like its cheeks were weird, and its neck was all wrinkly, and
like Kamala Harris.
No, yes, like Kamala Harris's neck. That was weird. But it was a picture. The AI alien was pictured right next to Maxine Waters, and it's like, it's amazing what a wig and lipstick could do to an extraterrestrial alien.
Oh no, it's crazy. You see her when she got her frown or her pound face on, she looked like she's out of Men in Black.
Yeah. Yes.
She does. Or you could even look at Madonna recently, right?
Oh, dude.
How wild does she look?
Bro, I mean, I actually saw something of her because my father met her in like the 80s, right? Like as she was taking off.
Yep.
He was like, this was like a drop dead gorgeous woman. You know what I mean? Like, and now she doesn't even look human anymore. I didn't, the whole clones or androids, conspiracy theory. Yeah. I never bought into that until
now.
until more recently. I think Tim Pool of all people had broke some story, probably with Alex Jones, about how they have the ability to clone cows and turn that meat into hamburgers and stuff.
Yep.
So there is this ability to clone. And then you look at people like Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
And you're like,
That never
Tom-
ages.
yeah, like eventually there's going to be a documentary movie made about the life of Tom Cruise, and they're going to cast Tom Cruise to play the younger version of Tom Cruise in that movie.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. And so
I know.
now if you look at like Madonna, that's not the same person that came onto the scene all those
Dude,
decades
Joey
ago.
Basements isn't the same person.
No, yeah, his
Dude.
ears, his nose, his chin,
I
everything.
think he's taller too.
maybe.
I'm
If you
dead
see
serious.
videos of him before he started losing all his hair in the 70s, you know, and he's even got a better head of hair now
Better
than when he
hairline.
started office.
Yep. And different chin line, different ears. Like your ears don't change. I mean, mine
Yeah.
changed because of cauliflower ear.
Yeah,
but
because
they're
you beat
still
on
got-
him.
Yeah, but they're still like they got their lobes. They're not attached. Like it's not, you don't go from like attached lobes to unattached lobes. You know, it's not like, oh, that's a surgery. Like, I don't like my lobes. I'm just gonna attach them to my skull again, you know? But I mean, here nor there, you can go from press conference to press conference in a day or two span.
Yeah.
And it's two different people.
Yeah. You can't even say that he's been like, oh, he got work done. No, this is a different person in 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been happening a lot. And you know, for all the people who are like, that's a conspiracy, it's crazy. Like, body doubles have been around forever. Every major politician, president,
movie star, billionaire,
everything, they all had body doubles. And I always bring it back to, you know, if you, okay, like you don't even want to believe that. Okay, well, what about action movies? Everybody has a stunt double.
Yeah.
It's literally a profession to look like another human being in a quick take, and you wouldn't be able to tell if it's The Rock or his sidekick.
There's pictures of Hillary Clinton, and I know she has a body double. I'm not saying she has a clone or an android. I'm saying she has a body double. And there's pictures because Bill's a pretty tall guy. She's a short little woman. And there's pictures where her head only comes up to like his bicep. And then there's other pictures where her head comes up to his shoulder. It's two different sized people. And, you know, and Trump has body doubles. So it's not just a one side establishment thing. I remember when I was a kid and they were going after Saddam Hussein.
And he had multiple bottle doubles.
I remember there was news. Oh, we killed Saddam Hussein. We killed him. No, we killed one of his body doubles. Remember, this was right before they found him in that spider hole. Yeah, they had killed one of his lookalikes, and people thought they got him. And that's how good these body doubles are.
And the whole cloning thing, I mean, like, you can go back to the 80s. Remember that, like, with that 80s, maybe early 90s, like that sheep that they cloned? Something the sheep, Sally the sheep young. Or something. You were a baby. You're a baby. But they're
born in 88. I mean, so,
but think about the technology. They had the ability to clone a sheep in the 80s.
Yeah.
To make a whole new animal.
And what do they have now? Yeah. So it's reasonable, man. Tom McDonald talks about it in his songs, you know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You see his newest one that came out?
The Love Song? Or
I think so. I think he was talking. I saw, might be. I think he just,
I didn't listen to that one yet. He went off recently on Sam Smith because he was like, I get called a conspiracy theory for saying that there's demonic notations in all this music and they're worshiping Satan. And then Sam Smith comes out there dressed as the devil and has this whole satanic ritual on stage. So
I've been saying it for years, my man. They're getting everybody to sing that catchy little tune. I mean, think about it this way, and then we'll get into Twitter files because I know me and you only got an hour or so. But what's it called? Think of it this way. Me and Steve were talking about it on our show Monday, and we were talking about, you know, the Sam Smith and all that other stuff. And then all of a sudden it kicked in. I'm like, didn't last year's Grammys they had Lil Nas X twerking on the devil in the throne?
Yeah, every year it's the devil.
That's what I'm saying. Like, literally, like, just last year. Oh, this is Satan. Oh, you guys are conspiracy. You're a bunch of Bible thumpers. You're this, you're that. Okay, so just the last 2 years, your headliners were fucking Satan, doing Satan, because the whole satanic thing is transgenderism.
Yeah.
Right? We can go into that first. We'll roll right off.
Well, yeah, we were going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So transgenderism, like, you're not a boy, you're not a girl, you have no identity. Like, look at the thing they worship. It's got, you know, goat head, devil horns, women's breast, and a penis.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole thing. And what are we seeing around the world right now? We don't know if it's a guy, we don't know if it's a girl. I watched actually a whole meme come through thing, you know, because that's where we get 90% of our information. Memes, because that's how you get around algorithms on certain things. But they were going back into the 40s. They were going back into all the queens, all that stuff. And they're like, it's been in plain sight the whole time, guys. Like, you know, you have a lot of those like monarchies. You're like, it's just because they're all inbred. They keep the line pure. They're funny looking. They're this, but they were putting like pictures and you're like, that's a man, baby. Right? Austin Powers, that's a man, baby. You know? And like, you know, me and Steve talk about it. I mean, it's not our thing, but like, yo, if you're gay, you're gay. Like, that's not what we're talking about at all, because we have friends that are gay and lesbians and so on and so forth. But you know, I mean, like, if that's your orientation, that's fine. Our problem is and even our friends that, you know, are gay or lesbian, they have the same issue. Like, once you bring kids into it, like, there's no reason for a kid, you know, drag shows, right? Like, there's no reason for a kid to be there. If I brought up my kid to the strip club, I would get fucking castrated.
If you got your kid a tattoo, you'd be arrested. All right? Isn't it funny that if I go to work on Monday and I show a female coworker a picture of the drag show or the strip club I went to, I'm sitting in HR because I just, you know, sexual misconduct in the workplace. But I could take my 5-year-old niece or nephew and go right over to a drag show where a full-grown adult man in his 30s wearing a little banana hammock can air hump their head on stage.
That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's clown world. It's upside down world, you know. And
there was a story recently of a parent, sorry to interrupt you, that got in trouble because they took their 10 or 12-year-old child to a tattoo parlor. He said the kid wants a tattoo, and the guy said, all right, cool. And then the parent got in trouble. You could take a little dragon on his arm. You got tattoos, I got tattoos. We're not no different for it. Didn't hurt us, didn't do anything to us. We waited to the right age. It wasn't illegal, but a drag show for
when did you get your first tattoo?
I think I was 20 or 21. I don't remember. It was my chest. Yeah. Yeah. Where were you? You definitely like 16. You broke the rules.
I think I was 14 or 15. Yeah, I know.
Would you get your upper thigh so it would never be seen?
I got my my back shoulder done.
Okay.
And it was funny because I wanted one. I think I was like 13 or 14. I'm like, I want a tattoo. And like, I'm just thinking now as a parent, like my kid's like 8 or 9 at 13. If you wanted a tattoo, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
You out of your mind?
Dude, my mom is a crazy person, man. She was just like, all right, next year, if you want tattoos still and something cool and you put it on there. All right, man, cool. So a year later, I was like, yeah, still want to do it. And she's like, all right, we went there.
Wow. All right. Your mom's awesome.
Now I have full sleeves and everything else. But
my mom cried the first one. The second one, she didn't talk to me for a month.
Yeah.
I
have friends like that. Yeah.
And then the very last one I got, she's like, see, this one I like. I was like, God, what the fuck is going on?
I know. See, this one, it has meaning, you know, as long as it has meaning, you know. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, people are getting in trouble for that. But then, you know, certain states are like, okay, your kid's 9 and they want to cut off their ding dong. Yeah, that's cool. And you know what? If their father or mother, one of the parents is down with it and the other one's not, like, no, because there's that case that was in Texas, right? Yes. Where the father was like, no effing way. And the mom's like, we're going to California. Fucking
could you imagine the repercussion if that father just in the middle of the night, packed a bag, grabbed the kid and hit the road and disappeared? CNN would have a nationwide manhunt for this guy.
Yeah, man. He's a Trump supporter. He's a right-wing extremist. He doesn't want his kid to cut his dick off, you know, like how dare he make those decisions? My body, my choice, unless it's the vaccine, you know, like it's unless like it's just always what if with them. Yeah. So I posted a good video of it was an Antifa sit-in on a black speaker yesterday, and they're like, aren't you supposed to be uplifting black voices? And they're like, yeah, we are. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, aren't you silencing mine? And it was just like the meme of like Will Ferrell dancing in the elf on the thing where he's doing the
Yeah.
kick. We're like, got him. Like, oh yeah, it's only okay for black people to talk when we agree with them.
Yeah, there was another video I saw. It's this woman was on some podcast, and the podcaster was like, well, America has the best system in place. And she's like, what? I completely disagree. America's system is based on racism. He goes,
racism.
yeah. And he goes, all right, so then who has the best system? And she's like, because now she has to answer this question.
Oh,
and
you
he's
have to
like,
back
and
up
he's
your
like, who?
facts.
He's like, who? Europe? He goes, because I know you're not talking about like Eastern Europe and Russia with communism. She's like, no, of course not. He was like, so you're talking about like Central Europe or Switzerland or England where it's 90% white.
White.
So you're okay with a system in a country that is developed by 90% white people, but America doesn't have the best system. She's like, well, if you choose to see it like that, yeah, you got shit on.
Yeah, you got shit on. Just be like, well, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people offer up their opinion with zero solution.
Yeah.
And then their solution, if they do have a solution, it's so radical and
Unattainable. Yeah.
yes, that it's like, oh, in this utopia, you know, like
in this perfect world. All right.
know.
So I mean, me and you could rant for hours. Let's
I
try and
know,
get some
but
structure.
we were talking about the Oklahoma Capitol
Yes.
insurrection of trans people. That's what we were
Yes.
talking about. So a whole trans group came in and created an insurrection, right? That's what we're
Yeah.
told that is when
I
you
mean,
go and protest your government.
by definition, if you storm a Capitol building, you're not supposed to be on Capitol property. You're not supposed to be in the Capitol building unless you paid for the ticket to get in and go on the tour, you know, and you get taxed for that.
Mhm.
If you are inside the Capitol building protesting, you
Unwanted.
you are a domestic terrorist and you should be sentenced to solitary confinement. Them the rules. We didn't make them.
We didn't.
What
We did.
happened in Oklahoma?
Yeah, but you know what? It's because they have boobies and wee-wees at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
okay.
That's so something Skaggs and I have always talked about in the past is a lot of people like Pete Buttigieg get put into these positions, or what's the admiral? What's her name?
You're very nice calling him or her. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I'm glad you're up on your pronouns. I like that.
I don't give a
So,
shit if he wants to
that
be a her,
Levine?
yeah. Yeah. So they put these
Or
unqualified.
look at the press secretary.
Yeah. They put these unqualified people in these positions. And the second anyone talks out against them, oh, you're a homophobe. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, it's a shield. It's a literal shield to install your guy into a place that has no need for that guy to be there to push your agenda. And he, she, they, them, whatever, were, can fuck up as much as they want. And there's no accountability, no
It's
repercussion.
immunity. It's like
because
they're immune.
you're racist.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that only works if you give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care if you call me a homophobe, because my people and my friends and my
Yeah.
family and everybody around me knows what I am and knows I'm a good person in my community. Black, white, red, yellow,
Yep.
doesn't matter. Gay, straight, doesn't matter. Like, my people in the real world, not the fake
Yeah.
internet space.
Yeah,
Where
internet
people
world.
are telephone tough guys and keyboard warriors, where they could just yell out a random word to try to
Yep.
shut you down. So then your whole conversation is illegitimate. Like, I don't care.
So
It only works if you care, folks.
Yeah.
It's just like it only works if you comply, folks. That's it.
So for the listeners, what was Oklahoma trying to pass? Just so they
Shit.
get some context. I'm pretty sure it was similar to like California, right? Where
I think it was for reassignment surgeries. I
Yes.
think.
yeah, and people
Mhm.
were protesting, and no one got in trouble. No
Nope.
one,
No,
which
those
is
insurrections are allowed, just like the
Yeah.
riots are allowed. Because
Hey,
it was for Georgie Boy Floyd.
I'll never forget. It was our good friends. It might have been earlier in their little podcasting career of the Three Pendejos, and
Mhm.
me and Skaggs had came on, and It was at the height of COVID, height of
I like that
BLM
name.
protest. Yeah, the Three Pendejos. Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah.
And it later on turned into the Last Slice podcast, which I wish they would bring it back. They were so much fun.
Mhm.
Basically every episode was talking about porn addiction, but anyway. And I brought up the fact that Bill de Blasio said that even so this was like at the height of lockdown. So like me and you couldn't go to church. We
Mhm.
couldn't go to the grocery store. You couldn't
Mhm.
operate your gym.
Mhm.
You know, fuck your bills. I don't care
Yep.
how you pay your bills. You got to close your gym down. But a BLM protest, that's more important than what COVID was doing.
Mhm.
And they lied about the numbers that you weren't getting as much COVID at the BLM. And on that podcast, I remember they took that as I was like, this is some crazy conspiracy theory that because early on in the Two Do Men, it was a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff until, and they took that as a joke. And I was like, look up what Bill de Blasio said. And I remember everybody's face like, holy shit, this is like spot on. Bill de Blasio is letting BLM protests and it doesn't matter about COVID.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, this goes perfect with our title. We were right.
Yeah, we were right. We were right.
All right. Are you ready to get into
Yeah,
some of the Twitter
let's-
backlash?
All right. I'm sorry, folks. I'm still, Skaggs is usually the one in charge. I got
Listen,
screen
man,
share first.
we are a work in progress, kids.
Yes, we are.
We're always working on ourselves.
Screen share.
And why Cap has a little extra
There
time,
we
we're
go.
just trying to give you guys some more content to listen to.
Exactly. The numbers are up in the past month. I think our viewership is up. Our subscribers went up a little bit, and we had like 6,000 minutes of listened content and stuff. So
That's
just
awesome.
1 month, man. Keep it coming, people.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys are doing great over there, man. Me and Steve are so shadow band. We got like, the same 200 listeners.
So you could see what's going on right now, right?
Yep, it's redirecting right now.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
Now we're in the
All right.
tweeters. The twatters.
So this is Jim Jordan questioning the board of directors the old board of directors of Twitter, correct?
Yep.
I think this is the longest video. Jim Jordan is a personal hero of mine. I love this guy.
Mhm.
He's
Yep.
a
He
savage.
catches all that shit because I like him because he was a wrestling coach. He was a wrestling coach over at Ohio State, but there was some, sexual misconducts with, a coach underneath him and blah, blah.
Mhm.
So everybody goes back to, that what would you call it? That not conspiracy, but that trial or whatever. But
Right.
I don't think he was personally like in it, like Sandusky up at Penn State.
Yeah.
But they were like, Joe Paterno had to know, and I guess you do on a certain set. So I just always try to both sides of the coin.
Oh boy, this is taking up some time.
That's all right. We'll get
There
there.
we
We'll
go.
get there.
All right, hopefully this will play. The other ones are shorter. This might be the longest one. We don't need to play all 4 of them.
hmm
Let's get the sound up here.
What's up, everyone? It's Skaggs, and I'm here to tell you about a new partner of ours, the Patriot Cigar Company. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to casually enjoy a good cigar with a nice glass of bourbon, especially during the fall months. The Patriot Cigar Company just launched their first 5 cigars, including the Hellfire, TNT, Mark 48, and Moab. Each cigar is handmade with premium tobacco that is aged a minimum of 3 years in Nicaragua. The best part about it is that you can go to mypatriotcigars.com and use our promo code DOOM for 15% off your purchase. So if you're ready to sit back and enjoy a nice cigar around the campfire, head on over to their website and see what they have to offer using the link in our episode description below.
1, we have a liftoff.
All right, folks. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulty, a little wave. So Skaggs knows this is where we're starting from. All right. So this is the video with sound of Jim Jordan questioning the Twitter board of directors.
Mr. Roth, did the government tell you that the Biden laptop story was fake?
No, sir, they did
Did
not.
they tell you it was hacked?
No, sir, they did not.
On October 14, 2020, Twitter blocks the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden, the New York Post story on Hunter Biden and suspends their account. The night before, FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan sends you an email. The email says this: heads up, I will be sending a teleporter link for you to download 10 documents. It's not spam. Please confirm receipt when you get it. 2 minutes later, 6:24 p.m., you respond back, received and downloaded, thanks. What were those 10 documents?
Twitter didn't give me access to my laptop, but Special Agent Chan has said publicly, and the FBI has confirmed that those documents did not relate to Hunter Biden, and that's my recollection of them.
What did they relate to?
My interactions with Agent Chan and with the FBI almost entirely focused on what the FBI called malign foreign interference, things like Russian troll farms and Iranian involvement in the elections, not on any type of domestic
Any of the
activity.
information on there classified?
No, sir, I do not hold a security clearance, and so I would not have received any classified information.
Who does hold a security clearance? I'm just going to second email here. I'm just curious about this. What I propose is that 30 days out from the election, this is another email to you from Mr. Chan. 30 days, we get temporary clearances. You pick who they are. Who were the people at Twitter who had a security clearance?
To be honest, sir, I'm not sure, and we never ultimately followed through on this plan to get temporary clearances.
Bullshit.
Did anyone at Twitter have a security clearance?
It's my understanding that at least some current or former employees did hold clearances, but I wasn't certain about
Ms.
that.
Gaddy, do you know if anyone took up Mr. Chan's offer to hand out security clearances 30 days before the 2020 election?
Not that I'm aware.
So we don't know how many people had security clearances. Twitter, do we know? Mr. Baker, Mr. Gaddy, Ms. Gaddy, anyone know how many people on Twitter had a security clearance in the 30 days prior to the election?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Ms. Gaddy?
I do not know.
Mr. Roth, you don't know?
No, sir.
How about the last one? Ms. Navaroli, do you know?
No.
I mean, it seemed like the offer was to sort of just hand them out like candy. I just wondered who had them. No one knows? Okay. So the FBI didn't tell you that it was fake, didn't tell you that it was hacked. And Mr. Roth, did the story violate your policies?
In my judgment at the time, no, it did not.
Yeah, that's what you said. Said what I would propose, is you said it isn't clearly a violation of our hack materials policy, nor is it clearly a violation of anything else. So I think what a lot of people are wondering is if it didn't violate your policies and they didn't tell you it was fake, didn't tell you it was hacked, why'd you take it down?
The company made a decision that found that it did violate the policy. It wasn't my personal judgment at the time that it did, but the decision was communicated to me by my direct supervisor. And ultimately, I didn't disagree with it enough to object to.
You know what I think happened, Mr. Roth? I think you guys got played.
Played yourself.
I think you guys wanted to take it deep down. We saw what the chairman put up where you said, everyone in the White House is a fascist. I think you guys wanted it to be taken down. I think you meet with these guys every week. We know that's been established in the Twitter files. You had weekly meetings with Mr. Chan in the run up to the election. They send you all kinds of emails. They send you documents on the super secret James Bond teleporter. You get information on that. I think you guys wanted to take it down. I think you guys got played by the FBI.
We could
And
cut it
that's the
off
scary
here.
part. Because we had 50.
Interesting. We got a few more videos. I don't know how many we'll get through, but I like we were saying earlier in this episode, I wish I could have worked for Twitter. These are the people who run Twitter, run huge departments of Twitter. I won't even say all of Twitter, but they talk about the company made a decision, like the company is an entity in itself. Like the blue Twitter bird came to life and was like, yeah, no, we're going to take this down.
So I think that's done for a reason. And it's the same thing that happens in government. It's done with so many channels and so many people and so much red tape, because that gives you plausible deniability.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what happens. And we're seeing
Well, that's how you run your gym, right? Of course.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, because that would work out real well for us.
Yeah.
It only works out for the government and people that are trying not to go to jail. Okay. So, this is what's happening in our government. This is what's happening in these big companies and everything else. Like you're watching literally, what is it? Almost communism, not even socialism anymore. Socialism is when, the government, it's kind of on the verge of socialism and communism, because communism is state run, corporations, right? But socialism is the state working with the corporations to censor and
Fascism,
everything
yeah.
else. Yes. So we're seeing this done real time, live, and people are still you see on the left side or whatever, they're still trying to justify the situation, everything else, but they don't like when their accounts are blocked. Oh, well, it didn't agree with us, so on and so forth. So we're trying to be fair, but because
Just
like I said,
sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
No,
finish your point. Finish your point.
yeah, I mean, like we're just trying to be fair because I do have one or two left side, the Democrats, questioning about Trump and saying he's colluded. But notice when the Republicans ask a question, nobody is aware. They don't know who it is. It's some supervisor. It's somebody up the pipeline that they don't remember their name. They don't remember thing. They don't remember this when their feet are being held to the fire. But when it's somebody else's fire, oh, we know who it is. We know who it is.
Yeah.
So that right there should be whether you're left or right leading. How do they
The red
only
pill.
how do they only remember one side of the story but not the other side of the story? And there's one that I want to play with what was it, Baron?
Maybe.
I'm trying to pull it because you have all the links, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to kind of pull this up from my phone and then I'll search it.
Well, I got one from DC Denario that you sent me of Rep Nancy Mace.
Yeah,
Just
we're
roasted
gonna play that one too. I'm gonna play Byron's first because this kind of just shows how they say they don't know, they don't know, they don't know. So
Right.
let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Let me just get
with Benny Johnson.
I think it was actually on his page itself. So we're gonna go. Let's see. I'm doing two things at once, kids. I never screen share either. So it was on Benny's, but yeah, I think it is on
Benny Johnson.
He's always good for something.
Yep.
Let me see if I can scroll through and find Rep. Was this Rep Luna? This is one on here, so good. We'll be able to stay on this page. I'm trying to find the Byron. He came hard, just like she came with receipts. Oh, Corey Bush was great too. I sent that to you guys. Let me see. Bobart. Nope, we don't want him. Oh, Clay Higgins was super huge. We could play this one actually too.
Let's go for it.
When he was asking, hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm
Skaggs
trying to look.
is gonna hate us editing.
Skaggs. We're apologizing because we're definitely
Don't worry, Doom Nation. Next week we will be more organized and prepared.
Here we go. All right, I got
that you actually
We'll start from the thing.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna turn mine.
scenarios from 2016.
You got a screen
also
share it.
said that you
Wow. All right, hold on a sec. Skaggs is gonna hate us. All right, let's see if I can get in here. Boom. Screen share. Desktop. Boom.
There we go. All right, we are good.
All right, ready?
you actually were opposed to deleting the New York Post story. Who advocated for the removal of the New York Post story?
The company's decision to treat it as a violation.
Mr. Roth, who at the company actually went over your recommendation? Because you're pretty high up. Who overrode you?
The decision was communicated to me by my direct supervisor.
Who was that person?
Her name was Del Harvey. She was
Okay.
the vice president of trust and safety at the time.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Gaddy, real quick, you said to the chairman earlier, and I want to paraphrase what I heard earlier, is that Twitter had no contact with anybody from the Biden team. Is that correct to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know.
Okay, over my right shoulder, we have an email.
Watch this.
Reference, this is Saturday, October 24th, 5:39 p.m., referencing 5 different tweets. This is with a Twitter email chain. Under the line, it's more to review from the Biden team. Does anybody have a comment on how much interaction was happening with the Biden team at Twitter with respect to tweets that they wanted Twitter to review? Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Roth?
I'm not familiar with this email.
So you're not familiar with this email, Mr. Roth? Are you familiar with this email?
Only from what's been reported in the Twitter files.
Did you ever have contact with anybody from the Biden team?
No, sir, I did not. We explicitly separated the
Oh.
teams that would interact with campaigns from teams like mine that were responsible for content
How
moderation.
big was the organization in Twitter that was actually working with campaigns?
I couldn't say for sure.
Did you ever have any contact with the DNC?
Directly? No, I did not.
Did anybody at Twitter have any contact with anybody at the DNC?
I think it's likely that somebody at Twitter did, yes.
In these emails, it's listed. These are tweets that had to be flagged from the Biden team. That's what's in the files. You have no idea how many people actually engage with the Twitter team, or how frequently that engagement happened.
No, and again, that was by design. We kept those functions separate from content moderation so that we could impartially assess reports like
Do
this.
you know how many tweets were actually flagged and taken down at the behest of the Biden team?
I wouldn't agree with the characterization of it as being at the behest of them. These tweets were reported and Twitter independently evaluated them under its rules.
But the email is very clear. More to review from Biden team. The response 3 hours later at the bottom, hold this up real quick so you can see. The request at the bottom, it says handled these. What does handled these mean?
My understanding is that these tweets contained non-consensual nude photos of Hunter Biden, and they were removed by the company under.
Hold on, real quick, Mr. Roth. How could you know so much about the content of these tweets? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these are just web addresses. I don't know what's in these tweets. You have these things committed to memory that you know the content, but you don't know who you talk to at the Biden team?
Sir, I didn't meet with the Biden team, but there was extensive public reporting about these tweets specifically that uncovered what they were.
You know the contents of the tweets. It was obviously at Twitter, but you have no idea how often people who worked in your organization had with the Biden team during the end of the 2020 presidential scenarios from
bombshells being dropped on that poor man.
Bringing receipts, baby.
Yes, and
Bringing receipts.
do you see the stress that man is under? Like,
Well, I would be
have
stressed
no-
if I broke the law and I'm sitting in front of Congress talking about how I didn't break the law, but I
Yeah.
did break the law.
I have no pity, no sympathy. You know, I mean, it's just, but you could read that guy's body language.
Well, what's
Whole
the chick,
just-
Gata or whatever, the Indian chick next to him? Like her
Yeah.
face is just like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
oh yeah.
they
it's
got
not-
him. Yeah,
They got him.
These videos, you know. So I always try and promote these Twitter files. You know, keep Elon out of it. However you feel about Elon, it's up to you. It's, you know, right now what he is doing is a good thing.
Yeah.
These are the greatest red and white pills you are going to get. These are the videos that you need to be showing to people and the files that you need to be showing people. This is how you get people to quote unquote jump the fence. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, 100%.
if you show somebody this and they say no, that's fake news, you don't got to see it at the table anymore. You're not a reasonable human being. You're brainwashed. But
Yep.
I remember at work one day, some kid kind of knew about the Twitter files. He didn't really understand what it was about. And at lunch, I sat down and explained it to him. And then I started sending him links. And at the time, there was like a 20-minute, 10-minute summary video of like all the files up to that point. And I sent him that, and he sat there for the rest of the lunch and watched it and read it. And then like a half hour later, I'm running around and he's at his desk, like,
Yeah, his face.
and
melting.
I'm just like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm reading the Twitter files. I'm like, yeah.
Awesome. So I know we're on a little bit of a time crunch, but I want to.
That's
play,
fine. We
I wanna
lost about
play
10 minutes. So
I want to play Luna. All right. So
yeah,
this
we'll do one more, and then
this is
we'll
well.
wrap
I want to
up.
do this one, and then I want to do the just the other side's play and take on it, and how they remember everything when it's about
Okay.
President Trump. So I think this is the correct one. I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna try to screen share with you all in a second.
Like I said, you know, on the next episode, we were right. We will be more.
We will-
Next
we will-
episode will be we are more organized.
We are more organized. So all right, ready? Boom. Boom.
Screen share is
Well,
up.
Make
Full
it big for y'all.
size. There we go.
And I'm
Oh,
ready
she
to-
was good. I fell in love with this woman.
Communications on Jira, a private cloud server with CISA, NASS, NASED, and Alex Stamos, who now works at Stanford and is a former security officer at Facebook, to remove a posting. Do you now remember communicating on a private cloud server to remove a posting? Yes or no?
I wouldn't agree with the
I
characterization.
don't care if you
that
agree.
this-
Do you, this is your stuff. Yes or no? Did you communicate with a private entity, the government agency, on a private cloud server? Yes or no?
The question was if I.
Yes or
communicated-
no? Yeah, I'm on time. Yes or no?
Ma'am, I don't believe I can give you a yes or no.
Well,
answer
I'm
to
going
that
to tell you right now that you did, and we have proof of it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is joint action between the federal government and a private company to censor and violate the First Amendment. This is also known, and I'm so glad that there's many attorneys on this panel, joint state actors. It's highly illegal. You are all engaged in this action, and I want you to know that you will be all held accountable. Miss Gaddy, are you still on CISA's Cybersecurity Advisory Council? Yes or no?
Yes, I am.
Okay. For those who have said that this is a pointless hearing, and I just want to let you guys all know, we found that Twitter was indeed communicating with the federal government to censor Americans. I'd like to remind you that this was all in place before January 6th. So to say that these mechanisms weren't in place and to make it about January 6th, I want to let you know that you guys were actually in control of all of the content, and clearly we have proof of that. Now, if you don't think that this is important to your constituents and the American people from those saying that this was a pointless hearing, I suggest you find other jobs. Chairman, I yield my time.
Oh,
Beautiful.
gangster,
Beautiful.
gangster.
Beautiful.
So
I mean,
gangster.
you don't want to answer? Fine. Well, we have proof. Here it is.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I know. And that's the crazy part is, like they're literally getting caught dead to rights. And what, and just for the listeners, you see how they're squirming. You see how they always go, I can't answer that question. I'm not sure I can answer. I don't agree with
characterize
the
that
characters.
question.
Yes, they don't, right? So you're just seeing this over and over again when their feet are being held to the fire, that they find a way to try to, word salad their way out of things. And it's just great to see this keep happening and happening and happening and happening. So the last one I'm going to try to see if I can bring up. All right, let's see. While we're on here, I'll be searching. Okay. But I mean, how do you feel about this right now?
Well, we were right. That's how I feel about it. I see this as the systematic destruction of the old guard, of the old way things were. Things are changing. Whether you're left wing, right wing, a MAGA supporter, fascist, whatever, I don't think going forward, politics, whether you're a good guy or not, and there's not many good guys, whether you're the establishment or not, things are changing and you can't do it the way you've been doing it anymore. And if you don't change, you're going to crumble, and I see this as a judgment day and almost like an evolutionary point in politics, because it's not you can't maintain this course any longer.
Yeah, no, I think it's unsustainable. Everything that we're on is just really just an unsustainable path that you're just seeing blatant lying, treason, treason. There is multiple accounts of treason that are going on.
This worked very well for the Bush administration, Bill's second term, the Obama administration. This all worked perfectly. This ain't working anymore.
Oh, no, not at all. So I don't know if I'll be able to get the, I got one more thing that I can try to get this on.
And now this is a
Democratic.
Trump.
Yep. This is up. Yep. We're good. All right. So I'm going to bring this up. Let me get my screen share ready. And boom. We're getting better.
Yes, sir. We'll be professionals.
We are getting better. So I'll bring this up big so everybody can see it and hear it. Start from the beginning. So now just listen how they can respond to his questions.
the White House almost immediately thereafter contacted Twitter to demand the tweet be taken down. Is that accurate?
Thank you for the question. In my role, I was not responsible for receiving any sort of request from the government. However, what I was privy to was my supervisors letting us know that we had received something along those lines or something of a request. In that particular instance, I do remember hearing that we had received a request from the White House to make sure that we evaluated this tweet and that they wanted it to come down because it was a derogatory statement directed towards the
They
president.
wanted it to come down. They made that request.
To my recollection, yeah.
I thought that was an inappropriate action by a government official, let alone the White House. But it wasn't Joe Biden about his son's laptop. It was Donald Trump because he didn't like what Chrissy Teigen had to say about him. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
My. Do you ever think it's appropriate for the president of the United States to direct or otherwise influence a social media company to take down its content?
I think it's a very slippery slope.
Mr. Roth, Ms. Gaddy, Mr. Baker, any evidence that Joe Biden's ever done that?
Certainly none that I'm aware of, no.
I don't recall anything like that.
I'm sorry, that President Biden did what, sir?
Has Joe Biden ever called Twitter, to your knowledge, or his White House at his behest to take down content or urge you to take down content?
Yeah,
I
he's going
don't know
through all
the
the
answer to
time.
that question, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
He said he
I'm
can't
gonna have to
answer.
conclude at least from 3 of the 4. You don't know. There's no evidence he's ever done that, but there's plenty of evidence Donald J. Trump tried to do that. And if we're going to have a hearing about the misuse of social media and the intrusion of government in the content on social media, we've got an environment-rich target, but it's not Joe Biden. It's Donald J. Trump. And of
Never
course, we
Joe
don't want
Biden.
to talk about that. We don't want to.
Man, playing
We
those
don't talk about Bruno is basically what they just said.
Man, playing those two back to back, you have an email, more to review from the Biden team. No, Biden's never done anything like this. Only Donald Trump has done stuff like this. But and it's the same. So for the listeners, the people who were being questioned in the last clip are the same 4 people who were being questioned in the first 3 clips.
Yeah, so I think like I said, I just wanted to play that for perspective because, they say, oh, Joe Biden, no, nothing directly plausible deniability, but they have emails of the Biden team. Oh, I don't remember if we talked to them. Oh, we didn't. Oh, all of a sudden, behest. I do remember that my senior people were talking about Donald J. Trump being bits because Christy Teigen called them a name, but Joe Biden. And you see him go down the line. They're like, yeah. And then they get to the third guy and he's literally looking around in his head and he's gone, I'm not answering this question because there's a phone call with me out there on there. And if they got it and they put it up there, so he's like, I can't answer that question. So the other guy right away goes steamroll. He goes, well, 3 out of 4 of you, that's good enough for me. So you guys all
that's
said,
proof. Yeah. Guilty.
That's proof he's guilty. Right. So, but in all fairness, if Trump is reaching out and doing that and trying to censor too, hold him accountable.
Yes. I always said that, because when people always throw, especially with the show, that I am the Trump guy on the show. And I've stayed the Trump guy. I have my libertarian tendencies, but I listen, if a panel of like Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff find Trump magically guilty by an anonymous source, bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. But if there's the video and the evidence and the witness, the email from his assistant says this is what he wants. Here's the voice recording from the phone call. And he's guilty.
Yeah.
Send him down the river. It ain't going to make a difference to me, man.
Exactly. That's how I feel. And, like everybody's like, oh, you're just like, no, lock them all up. They're all fucking criminals. It's a uniparty. Like you're seeing this. You're seeing the Republicans cover their ass. You're seeing the Democrats cover their ass. You see how they work together on the issues that make them money, not the issues that help the people. So, until the rest of the people wake up, we're going to be stuck in this purgatory of stupidity and hell. You
Yeah.
know, like we're just kind of stuck in this spot. So we just
And
wanted to put
that's-
it out there so this way you guys could see what we're looking at, what we're listening to, and just to see how polarizing different, how they can remember one side of the conversation, but never the other that would get them in
Of
trouble.
course. And at the same time, people with the, oh, well, I trust CNN or I trust a news source, blah, blah,
You're
blah.
an idiot. You're an idiot at this
Look,
point.
whether you're an idiot or not, because I mean, there are people out there that, an older generation that genuinely, have been
I don't want to
following.
hear that. I don't want to hear that excuse anymore.
But hear me
Don't.
out. My point is that there are commissions and investigations and hearings that are taking place, just like what we aired, showing that Twitter should be held accountable, but no major news source is playing it. You got to come to people like us to hear about it. And that's part of how the media is in on this. You mentioned last week how, but so you mean to tell me everyone's in on it? Yes, everyone's fucking in on it. This is how the media
Rico at, man.
Yeah,
Giant
this is
Rico
how
act.
the media protects the social media company. So, just because it wasn't played on CNN, people aren't going to believe this. But now we're showing videos of these questionings. Start doing your own research. And it's sad because I wish we had a much greater reach, because the people that are going to sit down and listen to this show are like, hell yeah, I'm doing my research. To get the people who aren't doing their research is a whole nother job, man.
Yeah, and share away. That's why we always ask you guys, like, subscribe, and share. I mean, it helps us out. It's not just for our egos. We need to get this information out there. And the other problem is like, we're so shadow banned all the time. Like, even if we share our info, sometimes it gets memory hold. So, we gotta get out there. We gotta keep up the good fight and just keep on digging.
And we were right, baby.
And we were right. Awesome episode, man. I had a great time talking to you, dude.
Yes. Awesome rant, awesome topics. We should be back next week. Don't see why not. These are extra content, bonus content. So, Doom Nation, on my side, it is your captain. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Garrett, sign yourself off.
Yep, Samurai over here. We're gonna just keep chopping away. No pun intended. Katanas, but go check us out wherever you can find us that didn't shadow band us.
There we go, baby. All right, guys, have a good day.